What's going on, everybody, and welcome back for finally a new episode of the Matrix Misfit Podcast. I know it's been a while. It's actually been 2 months and 2 days as of today when we are recording, and by the time you guys listen to it, it will have been 2 months and 3 days because we are going to hurry up and push this episode out for you guys because I know a lot of you have been waiting for a new episode. But for most of you who have been keeping track with us and, you've kind of picked up what we were putting down in the last previous episodes, we've been working a lot on YouTube and TikTok and just trying to, widen our our exposure and get to a larger group of people, and it's been working. It's worked way better than we thought it was going to, and that's why we have not been back to do any new podcast episodes. We weren't doing it on purpose. I know last episode we did, I told you guys that we'd be trying to make sure to put out more frequent episodes and stay on top of it, and you'd be hearing more from us, and I kind of lied, but that's because I didn't expect so much attention to our TikTok and YouTube that we've been putting out. Did not expect things to go as well. I thought for sure we were going to see nothing numbers and we were just going to be better off doing our podcast. But that was until we started to do it, and the exact opposite happened. So much so that we have seen way more numbers doing YouTube and TikTok than doing the podcast. And, it's not to say that we don't like doing the podcast. It's just we want to be able to make sure to get our message out to as many ears and eyes as possible, because I find it very important to get America on the same level. We are going through very confusing times right now. I mean, we're in the middle of a war. I know it's not being called a war. Call it what you want, but it's a fucking war. And, we're going through a lot of crazy shit right now. And that's why I felt like, it's time to come back and do an episode. I feel like enough has happened since last time we spoke, which I believe last time we spoke was when that shooting in Minnesota happened with Renee Good. That's the last time we talked, was when that happened. And of course you already know that a lot has changed since then, right? But real quick, for all of you who have been following us on TikTok on our Bleak Nico account and the Matrix Misfit, thank you so much for the support, the views, the responses. It's been amazing. I love being able to, have so much, not really influence. I just like being able to know that we're getting our voice heard by so many people, and there's so many positive responses and so many like-minded people. It's relieving, it's refreshing, and it gives me that sense of knowing that I'm doing something purposeful. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm hoping I'm helping other people's lives by just finding like-minded individuals, and maybe even not like-minded individuals, but maybe we can get each other on the same page. I'm not here to win every argument. I'm not here to be right about everything I say. I'm here for the arguments. I'm here for the debates. I'm here for, trying to figure things out amongst both sides, because right now our country has a split into two parts. I mean, I guess there's a couple more, but mainly it's Democrats and Republican. Everybody right now is either all right or everybody is all left. And what we forget is that it's not really right and left. It's whether you're right and wrong. And whether you know the difference or not is the real question. That's the real debate. And we have to remember that whether you are right or whether you are left, there are good and bad people on both sides. No side is absolutely correct and has all the saints, while the other side has all the idiots, the dumbasses, and the people who are wrong. That's not the way it fucking works. And if you want to get serious about it, there really is no difference between right and left. That's another thing that we really have to get out of our heads. You see, the country did this for this thing called, the illusion of choice. When really, if you're to go up the pyramid of who is running both sides, the right and left, you would find out that it's the same small group of people in the same small room, all thinking that they somehow are deemed worthy enough to tell all of us how we are supposed to live our lives in order for them to prosper and us to just suffer and be okay with it. That's all it is at the end of the day. And we really have to come to terms with that. I've had conversations and debates with people where I can fucking argue until my face is blue, and they still won't grasp the fact that everything is ran by the same small group of people for the same agenda. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's just the truth. That's the reality. And maybe it'll take you, another 40 years before you realize it, but it is what's happening. Whether you choose to open your eyes and your ears now or later is up to you. But you can only avoid the truth for so long. And that's just how it is. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I understand that everybody has their own opinions, their own views, their own sides of an argument. Completely understandable, and I completely respect every single one of you for having at least an idea or an argument inside you that, that you feel passionate about. Because that's what we're all here for. We all have to live here together. But while we are all being controlled by this hierarchy of wealthy class who have no care in the world for who we are, how we have to live, or what we have to do every day in order to keep them rich, while we just continue to get poorer and more poorer. You see what I'm saying? Like, we are all on each other's side, believe it or not. As much as a lot of us like to argue with one another, the only reason we all still exist is because we have to lean on one another. And even if you don't see that we're leaning on one another, we are. Because that's the only way things are staying together right now. So, I just want to start this off by saying, most of you already know this. I voted for Donald Trump this last election. Yes, I did. I was fucking certain that this man, with what he was saying and with the direction that he wanted to take this country, there was no better person to ask to do the job. I figured if there was anybody that could do it, this motherfucker is hard-headed enough, and he, at this time, he was saying all the right things, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are feeling the same way as I did. And as of recently, we have noticed that basically he was just saying all those sweet nothings into our ear just to get our vote. And unfortunately, he has done the exact opposite. Now, I'm sure that there's some things, I'm not sure exactly what off the top of my head, that he's done that have actually been good for the country. Because whatever that was is being completely, for lack of better words, trumped by all of the bad shit that he's doing and all the bad things that he's getting us involved in. Let's just go off of this and say that when he started off during election time, he was running off of this fuel of not relying on outside resources, not relying on other countries for oil and things like that, and getting rid of any of that and becoming more self-dependent, which is amazing. That's exactly what this country needed. And of course, that followed into paying tariffs, which we find out now was just a way for companies to charge us more money for the same products. That way, the companies themselves didn't have to pay the tariffs. We were forking over the bill. And now these companies are able to sue for all of this tariff money that they weren't supposed to pay, right? That they weren't actually paying, we were paying. But they expect to get that money back for themselves, even though it came out of our pocket. That is a whole, I don't even know what to call it. That is just a whole, a pile of fuck right there that needs to be sorted out. But we got screwed on the tariff thing. But that's one thing that he was, trying to get our votes with that he completely fell short of. Another one was no more forever wars, no more conflict in the Middle East. Well, it seems like today there's a whole lot of conflict going on in the Middle East, and it looks like we might get stuck in another forever war. Because let's just face it, when we find ourselves in time of war, it's no longer about how quick can we get the war to end. It's about how long can we prolong this war. Because let's face it, a lot of money has the ability to disappear on whatever the fuck they want, and nobody is allowed to question it because we are at time of war. We are not allowed to question where money goes and where it disappears to. We're just supposed to say, yes, master, thank you, may I have another? And you continue to lose more and more of your money out of your pocket, and your country's doing whatever the fuck it wants with it, even if this is a planned situation. But we won't even go there because that's just a voice in the back of my mind. Again, no more conflicts in the Middle East, cheaper gas, again, by no longer relying on outside sources. We were going to rely on our own reserves. Why are we, these were his talking points of why he was trying to get us to vote for him, which all sounded great, right? Those are all things that this country needed. Again, another one, strong Christianity, a strong Christian nation. And then what? Right after he gets elected in, we see that this motherfucker is more Jewish than he is Christian. He's even being referred to as the first Jewish president. We're seeing him clearly now. We see a lot more of it, of how tightly in bed he is with Israel. So much so that you have to question whether we're American or are we all secretly Jewish. You know what I'm saying? So these are some things that really bother me now when looking back. So obviously from what it looks like is he told a whole lot of lies in order to get a whole lot of our votes. And we're seeing nothing of what we voted for. We're seeing exactly the exact opposite of what we all voted for. And yeah, it's disappointing to say the least. Now, let's look at the fact that they're also now, ever since this Iran conflict, we're looking at a possible economic crash. Well, that's kind of to be expected when your country gets into a war and you don't know how much money is about to be spent on, the Jewish occupation there to help them defend themselves. Because let's face it, the only reason they still exist is because we're helping them. They do not have enough people. They do not have a big enough military. And I don't understand why a small occupation like Israel would think that they have any power to inflict war with anybody, which clearly just kind of shows that they know that they have us in their back pocket. That's the only way somebody with that small of an occupation would say, yep, we're going to go ahead and attack this country and this and this. With you and what army? Well, them and our army and our funds. So, that whole thing is so fucked up. So, honestly, an economic crash can only be expected at this point because that's exactly what usually happens when war is happening. The only downside to it that these people aren't thinking about is, you have all these defense missiles and all this shit. How many of those do you have before you run out? And then you're surrounded by countries who haven't wasted any of their missiles. They haven't used any of their reserves. They can honestly just decide to wait until you use all of your artillery, and then they come in and fuck you up. So I feel like war is a very tricky thing these days. And for somebody to just go in and try to waste all of their load trying to take out one country is kind of stupid because you're surrounded by countries who haven't spent one single bullet yet. And they're watching everything that's going on. So I don't know. I think it's very ballsy this day and age for any country to try to wage war on anybody. Outside of the fact of the nuclear weapon threat and all of that shit. Which honestly, in my opinion, I don't think nukes exist. I think we have bombs that go very big boom and can cause a lot of damage, but nuclear bombs, I highly doubt. I know that I know that we have big bombs. I think if we ever did get hit with what they call a nuclear weapon, I feel like it would be a mixture of just a very big bomb mixed with some biological warfare weapons, mixed with some weather control, and that's what they would ultimately blame on being a nuclear weapon. That's what they would call it, but really it'd be a combination of those three things together that just really fuck everybody up. We know they have the power of those three things. We see them use them all the time. Now, we have another topic here, water restrictions. Or hang on, before we get to water restrictions, because we're all hearing about that right now, and it's all for these data centers and AI. The elephant in the room needs to be addressed on that one. And what can I say? The first answer that comes to mind is usually the most correct. And it would say, we all have to restrict our water usage to 6-minute showers and all of this, or we can just get rid of AI centers. I say just get rid of the AI centers. We have done great without them so far. Why are we going to, you know what I'm saying, ruin our lives a little more for the sake of everybody else getting rich at our, you know what I'm saying, at fucking our cost, or at our expense, I should say. But real quick, the Iran war, obviously, when Trump dropped that bomb and it killed the Iranian leader, it killed the dude's wife and some of his kids, I guess, because the new leader is his son, which I'm just now finding out it has no political background whatsoever, just like his dad, who was just in control of Iran. He had no political background either. Like, that could possibly be why we find ourselves in these situations, is we have leaders of countries who really shouldn't be involved in that kind of leadership to begin with. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I mean, no political background from either side, either one of them, but yet for some reason they're being made a leader of a country. It's just mind-boggling. 3,000 army soldiers just quit on Trump. That's another thing. Trump's talking about trying to, wanting, well, I don't know what the actual choice is, or if anything's actually been made, for sure about this whole possible draft and wanting to send, our kids over to fight a fucking war for billionaires, as it always goes. Yeah, I see a lot of pushback by the people on this. And I mean, I hope things don't have to get to that point before people actually start standing up for themselves and saying, fuck you and your billionaire wars that just spill the blood of the already poor people for you rich people. It needs to stop somewhere. This thing, it's going to hit a head at some point. And I hope it doesn't get to that point before we actually decide to do something about it. But yeah, talks of a possible draft, and we already have army soldiers quitting. People are already talking about, if you get drafted, don't go, because what is it going to be? It's like a $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. But if enough people say that they're not going, and not only are we going to run out of jail space, but two, you're only going to have to wait so long until you have somebody else in the White House who's going to fucking just send everybody home. That's what's going to happen. So I have a feeling that's exactly where it's going to get. If he does try to start drafting people are just going to be saying no. Because why are we fighting a war for you that we did not want, nor are we going to benefit from? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we being made to fight for people who aren't American? I'm sorry, but if it's not about America, I don't give a fuck. It's not our war to be fighting. We didn't get ourselves into this mess. Trump and Israel got us into this mess, but we, the people of the United States, did not. I'm sure some people don't really care, and they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's go, bomb everybody. And, of course you're going to have your people that think like that. But for those of us with, an actual head on our shoulders, we don't want war. There's no reason to fight. There, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing that can be solved wasting billions and billions of dollars and millions of missiles and wasting millions and millions of lives that can't be figured out in a room with two people having a conversation. Figure it the fuck out. And if the leaders can't figure it out, then I say we put the leaders in a room, we dress them up like fucking gladiators, and we say go at it. And whoever the fuck wins get to say they won. Because I'm tired of seeing countless of millions of people lose their lives for some rich man's war. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to the old days? Remember how you used to hear about George Washington being on the field with the soldiers and being right next to his men fighting the war? You don't see that anymore. I doubt we're going to see Trump suit the fuck up and get out there on a horse and frontline that shit along with every fucking American soldier out there. And I doubt we're going to see Barron Trump suit the fuck up with a gun in his hands on the front line, along with any of Trump's other kids. No. We see what's changed here. We're clearly just seen as expendables, and we're just going to be put out there, and whatever happens, happens. There's going to be casualties, as Trump says. There always is. And it's usually because these things are planned out. So usually there's a little tit for tat. You know, like, we're going to bomb here and we're going to probably kill this many people. You go ahead and we'll tell you where you can bomb, and yeah, we'll get rid of some people and we'll just call it even. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it fucking goes. Sometimes things go a little unscripted and bigger casualties happen than are supposed to, but we're just collateral damage at the end of the day. That's just how they think of us. And if you think it's any other way, you're a fucking fool. Who was the Iranian leader? Ayatollah Khamenei, however you want to say that. Yeah, so I guess it's his son that's taken over now. And now everybody's wondering how bad the payback's going to be, because not only did the dad get killed, but the dad's wife and some of his kids got killed as well, I guess. A lot of people are saying that Trump went ahead and bombed Iran because Iran was getting ready to attack us first. But I don't know. I don't understand. I don't really know what would be the right answer there. Would it be to wait until Iran actually attacked to do something? Or do we try to jump in first? Because do we know whether Iran was actually going to attack or not? The only people who really know that answer are the people who aren't going to have to fight this war. You know? So it's hard to say what was the right choice there and what wasn't. Either way, I feel like the right choice would be to not get involved with somebody else's conflict. Because obviously, this is more of an Israel issue with these countries, not so much our issue with these countries. And again, we're in Israel's back pocket. So we're being used like Israel's little bitches. And another way to look at this, like I said before, there is no right side, there is no left side. There is no left wing, right wing. They're both wings to the same blind bird. And when it comes down to, if you really look at it, the left side has, I guess when you really look, I guess a better way to look at it is you have two major forces on this globe, or on this earth, however you want to look at it, whether it's flat or round. We have two major powers who pretty much want to take over the world, right? One more so than the other. We have the Jews, who want this whole area of land that they believe they were promised by our Lord and Savior and by God, that they are promised this land. But they want it when they want it, not when the Messiah returns. So that's where the whole Zionism thing comes in. We have Jews as a major, influence in the world who, want a major stake on this earth. And then we have the Muslims. So from what I've gathered and from what I see, is that the right side, the Republican, or as far as Donald Trump's leading it, they want the Jews to be able to be the ones to take over. The left would rather the Muslims take over. Either which way, neither of them are asking what we want. And why we're just going to basically pick which side, which one gets to take over the United States at some point. And that's an even bigger problem that nobody's even looking at. Because if you look back and you look at the past and you look at the way where money is being funneled and where it's going and who's sticking up for who and whatever, you will see that the right side is for the Jews. Clearly, we're living through it right now. And the left was more so on the Muslim side. So you really got to kind of look at those things. And like I was saying, and neither one asks us what we want. That's how little they care about what we want. They have bigger things to address. We're just collateral damage, Another thing here, I don't know if you guys have heard of this gentleman. He is a famous YouTuber. I follow him. I've been following him for a little while, probably a year, maybe almost 2 years I've been following this guy. He is an independent journalist on YouTube. He didn't start off that way, but he really got some traction when he started doing more independent journalism work on YouTube. And I really like his videos because he's got some balls. He's not afraid to address certain questions or ask people certain things and just trying to get to the truth, trying to get to the bottom of things. His name is Tyler Oliveira. Tyler Oliveira. He just got canceled from YouTube. He just got his platform on Patreon taken down, all because he went around to the Jewish communities in New York and in New Jersey, and just was basically trying to see what's going on in these communities, because both of these communities are pretty much surviving on the government income. They all have EBT. They're all getting assistance. None of them, like, he goes to these communities, and basically what he finds out is that the women work, the men, not so much. Because every guy that he walked up to, which everybody he walked up to was basically a man. I think maybe one or two women, but everybody was basically a man that he walked up to, and was just basically asking him, like, oh, do you like it here, and things like that, and what do you do for work? And none of them would answer what they do for work. So once that question came out, they were just like, oh, and just started walking away. None of them wanted to answer what they do for work, because clearly we already know they all live off the system, but we're just trying to figure out why. And so as he goes through these communities and he's asking more and more questions, he's just getting more and more pushback. It's like we're made to feel like we are in the wrong for questioning why these people have their own communities here in the United States where they live off the system. So food, shelter, transportation, daycare, schools, all of this stuff is covered by this, by the state, by the country, by the government. And I mean, yeah, we as regular American citizens, we get perks of living on EBT and all that stuff too. But we don't have whole communities that solely live off of the system. And here, their families consist of 10 to 13 fucking children. Meanwhile, nobody can answer what they do for a living. And that's what he was kind of trying to expose, was that nobody can answer for where they're getting their income other than living off the system. And yeah, most of them would say, yeah, my wife works or whatever. And the women seem to have jobs, I guess, even though there really is no proof of that. But he is being absolutely canceled and taken down on every platform where he tries to put this information out. So I don't know if everything's been taken down off of YouTube yet, but I highly recommend that before they do take it down, if it's not down already, go search Tyler Oliveira and look for they're real recent. The episodes that he did are real recent, within the last month. And you will see for yourself. He's not being mean. He's not being ignorant. He's just simply asking people questions and trying to get to the bottom of why these communities exist the way that they do. And here we are funding this to happen. And we're also funding a war and, sending billions of dollars to Israel every year for them to basically exist. And it's like, why are we forking over this bill for these people? Why are they living here for values that they can have and, what do you want? Exercise and do at home. They can be in Israel living the way that they're trying to live here. But why aren't they living there? They're living here, living off of our system for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, their communities that they live in, they're basically turning into little Israel. It's like, why did you leave a place that was already like this just to come here? It doesn't make any sense. And it's like, I get it. Like a lot of those Jews now probably are born here. So of course they don't want to go to Israel where they don't know. And I can stand up for that. It's not really their fault that this world has been created around them and that they were brought up in this world, not knowing that this is how they exist here. I really can't blame them for that. That's not their fault. It goes way back to when they first started migrating here. Or, yeah, I guess you can call it migrate. That sounds so weird to say that. I feel like I'm talking about animals when I say migrate. But, they came here as immigrants and they started living here. And then, with time, they slowly took over certain areas by pushing other people out. And I don't know exactly how that works as far as pushing everybody who isn't a Jew out of your area. But that's the way it is now. They just have these certain communities that are just solely Jewish communities. And, yeah, I just find it wild. But go look for those videos in case they've already been, or before they do get taken down. Because I think it's very important as American citizens to kind of see these things. Because these are things that aren't put in front of us. and they're not going to be shown to us unless we go looking for them. And thank God that we have independent journalists like this on YouTube who will go out and face the fire and go through the trouble so that we don't have to. And clearly we can see that these people are being made examples of. Anytime you do go to, see what's going on and educate yourself on why these things are happening in our country, you get completely shut down and shut up. And that brings me to my next point, that if you want to know who's really running things, you have to look at who you're not allowed to criticize. And I'm just going to leave that one right there because that holds its own truth. So yeah, sorry, Tyler Oliveira. He actually started a new platform called, since, Patreon dropped him, and that's the only way that he's allowed to get paid for what he does outside of what YouTube was giving him. He started his own website called tylerraw.com. But ever since he went on YouTube and said, fuck Patreon, fuck YouTube, I opened up my own website, tylerraw.com. Now that they found out that he has another outlet where he can get paid, the Jews are now attacking that outlet as well. And they've basically made it to where anywhere that he tries to promote tylerraw.com, it's getting pulled. So he's not allowed to, advertise for tylerraw.com anywhere because he pissed off the Jews. And now that we see what kind of power they have, that if you make them mad, they'll find a way to take your shit down. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. They have money and they have their hands in everything. Shit, for all I know, for me just saying this right now, you guys might not hear this episode. I don't know. Or it might get taken down in the future. That's what we're going to have to keep an eye on. So for all of you listening right now, let's bookmark this. Let's put a pin in it and let's mark this date, this episode, and we will see exactly what happens. Because if they come attacking my small channel after, me finally putting out an episode after 2 months, they really have nothing better to do. Let's see. Utility prices in some of these states are getting crazy. In Massachusetts, their electricity bill in February was reaching as high as $1,633 on average for an electricity bill. And this is because they're putting in data centers. Here we go again with another example of the most, what do you want to call it? The most obvious answer is probably the most correct. Get rid of the data centers. Because it's hard enough to afford living right now in the country as it is. And now you want to make people's utility bills $1,600 fucking dollars a month in order to pay for your data centers that you're going to benefit from and make tons of money off of. You're going to make us fork over the bill. See, this is the problem with this country. The rich want what they want and they expect us to just pay for it. And that's not the way it fucking goes. But they are getting very ballsy and they think that that's exactly how it's going to go. And we need to stand up and tell them and show them that that's not the way it's fucking going to go, because you are supposed to be working for us, not the other way around. And that leads me to our Declaration of Independence. That's right. The words and rights and rules that were given to us by our founding fathers, that we have a sworn duty and obligation to abide. And they told us that we have, where did I write it? I thought I had it written down somewhere so I didn't sound like such a dumbass. But basically, it is our sworn duty and right to defend not only our Constitution, but our country and our citizens against any overreaching or tyrannical government whenever the opportunity arises. So whenever we are able to fight back and put this corruption down, it is our sworn duty as an American citizen to stand up and crush that corruption and get rid of an overthrowing or overreaching government. And that is exactly what we are living in right now. So, are we going to keep worrying about what they might do to us if we stand up? Or are we going to make our founding fathers proud by standing up and defending a small group of people who think that they have control over this entire world? What are you going to do? Are you going to die a fucking, are you going to live like a pussy or die like a tiger? And I'm not saying we're going to die, but we are going to if we don't stand up and do something eventually. Because we know what their end-all plan is they plan on dwindling our numbers down to a controllable amount. So that way they know exactly how many people they need around to keep their money flowing and to also have control to where we can't do nothing, to fight back. That's what their end game is. And we're slowly getting there, and it's getting closer. And unless we fight back, they're going to succeed. But I just wanted to throw that out there because it is in our Declaration of Independence. And we do have a sworn duty to do our fucking job. It's not just to sit back, get fat, and hope things just work out. Sometimes we're going to have to fucking stand up, get our hands dirty, and kick some ass. Even if it means our own fucking president. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of people out there who are Trumpers and you fail to see the obvious and you always need more proof because whatever's put in front of you is either AI or fake. And you know what? It's hard to open your eyes and it's hard to accept defeat and it's hard to accept the fact that we've all been fucked over and lied to. But you have to face the truth at some point. You can't avoid it forever. It's not going anywhere. It's just waiting for you to catch up. Let's continue here. Let me get off my soapbox for a second. Bill Clinton. So he gave his deposition or whatever about the Epstein files and what he experienced and witnessed and all that stuff. And, Bill's just at that age that I don't really think he fucking cares anymore. Basically everything that he planned on getting away with, he did. And he's old enough to where he knows that there's not really anything you can do to him. He's already looking at death pretty, not far in the future. So he doesn't fucking care. Even with all that said, I still don't think that he's the worst president we ever had. Honestly, I think we're looking at our worst three that we just previously went through and we are currently living under. Between Bush, Obama, and Trump. I didn't think it was going to get worse than Bush, but damn was I wrong. Ooh boy. We wound up being run by a Muslim and now a fucking crook. And honestly, I really thought that people were wrong about Trump. And I was really fucking hoping they were. And I really stood up for that guy. And I really thought he was going to give us the country we all deserve. And man, it hurts to say that I was wrong. But man, I apologize to everybody who has suffered and has had to go through any kind of hardships due to the fact that I fucking helped vote that person in. I really apologize, and I'm sorry. And I don't know what's going to happen in this near future, and I just want to apologize now for any future casualties or anybody who's going to end up losing their lives over the fact that we let this guy in the White House. I helped let this guy in the White House. And there's nothing I can do to fully take back what I helped happen. But I know I wasn't alone in doing this, and it was much more than just my one vote that did it. But it doesn't matter. I still feel guilty of everything that's happening, everything we're going through, everything we've been going through for months, and everything we're about to fucking see happen. Because we know this thing is not over, and we're not done seeing the worst of it. Not by a long shot. And I hate being able to say that with confidence. But I do want to say I fucking apologize. I wish I could take it back. I know my vote wouldn't have changed a fucking thing, but I can't say, I guess I wish I just would have voted for somebody not right or left. Because let's face it, if Kamala Harris would have gotten in the White House, we'd probably be in more of a clusterfuck than we are with Trump. Except for it goes back to what I was saying. One side wants the Jews to overthrow, the other side wants the Muslims. So either which way, I feel like our country would be under a takeover of some sort by one group or the other. And that's just the sad truth about it. I don't regret not voting for Kamala, but I definitely regret voting for Trump. I can say that. But neither one, at this, knowing what we know now, were right for this country. And I don't even need to let Kamala Harris have control at all to know that that would have been a wrong choice. I just know it would have been. If I would have voted for any woman, and honestly, I don't even know how strong her ties are with Trump and how much like Trump she would have ended up being, but I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard if she would have ran. And I think she was trying to run, but, the politics are all controlled by money. It's all about protecting and helping your benefactors and colleagues. So anytime it comes to election time and having people that you can possibly vote for, any of the good choices are usually cut out of the race immediately because they're already getting in the way and they're already clouding people's minds of having better choices than the people that they want to put in front of you to vote for. Because that's the way this whole thing is ran. You either vote for the people that they're all betting money on and putting money on and investing into, or you don't vote for anybody. They'll just find a way to crash everything and flip the game table. And that's just sadly how it is. At least that's the way I feel about it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But real quick, back to Bill Clinton. So he was saying that, I never witnessed Trump do anything. And it's like, how can you trust Bill Clinton? Let's just imagine that this is the most truthful president we've ever had, which we know he wasn't. That motherfucker has lied about plenty, including never having sexual relations with that woman that we know damn well he fucking did, because who wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? Monica Lewinsky was hot. You know damn well he at least got a blowy from her, if that's all. And, and then this is also the man who Epstein has a personal painting of in his office wearing a dress and red high heels, which if you know about the Red Shoe Club, you know why the red shoes is a significant thing. But, you got a painting of Clinton in your fucking office. I think he even had a painting of George Bush, right? With a paper airplane knocking down the towers or whatever. I don't know if that was a real painting or not, but I know the Bill Clinton one was. But for Bill Clinton to sit there and try to act like he didn't think that he was involved in anything, or he was trying to say that he never took part in any of the wrongdoings that Epstein was up to, that's all bullshit too. So for the fact that he was trying to defend himself, do you think I'm really going to try to listen to you and, listen to your so-called truth about Trump not being involved in anything? We can't trust either one of you. You're both just scratching each other's backs. That's all politics is, and that's all you guys are going to continue to do until you're 6 feet under. That's all you're going to do. You're stuck being Freemasons, you're sworn to the Brotherhood, and you will never rat out somebody who you are in cahoots with. Or somebody who is one of your brothers. Because we all know the Freemasons all stick up for one another. That's all part of it. And, the Freemasonry helps control the world. At least a portion of it. It's been around forever. And it's mostly politicians or wealthy elites, powerful, wealthy influence. Let's see here. Epstein files. The one thing we did get from at least releasing the Epstein files was the fact that we unlocked and proved that evil, satanic, cannibalistic pedophiles control our country and possibly the entire world. At least a great portion of it. That's one thing that we did find out from releasing the Epstein files. One thing we do have to remember, though, is that Epstein wasn't the main guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we were talking about Diddy and how Diddy was the Epstein of the music world, we know that Diddy was not the top guy. He was just the front man. He was the hype boy. He was the hype man. And that's all Epstein was. Epstein was just the guy who everybody knew, and he was the face of the events, and he was the one inviting everybody. He was the one supplying the venue and the place that people would go. That's all he was. He was not the top guy. This stuff did not start happening with Epstein and end with Epstein once he was considered unalived in prison, which, after seeing him walk around free in Israel, we all know that we were all right about him not being unalived. But of course, everybody still needs more proof of that too, even though it's right in front of our fucking faces. And then seeing Ghislaine Maxwell in British Columbia. But again, this was a video that people are saying was heavily filtered with AI, even though it does not look filtered with AI whatsoever. I've seen videos filtered by AI, and they look filtered by AI. You can just tell by looking at it that lines are too crisp. Things start looking a little too perfect and cartoony. So they can say that that video was AI'd the fuck out of all they want, and I'm not believing it. Because that person thought that it looked enough like Ghislaine Maxwell that he stopped and said, Ghislaine? And she turned her head and said, I'm sorry, do I know you? Why would you respond to somebody like that if you didn't, you know what I'm saying? If they didn't get your attention with the name, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you respond to it? Why would she not just look at the dude like, who the fuck are you? No, she responded, hi. You know, well, she didn't say hi. She said, sorry, do I know you? Meanwhile, she's conversating with a dude who looks just like her brother. And, you know, and to seal the deal on that one for me is the fact that if this was a woman who just got, you know, how do you want to say it? Misidentified as Ghislaine Maxwell. Would you not think that that woman who got misidentified would have put out a TikTok or a Facebook video or something to be like, oh my God, you guys are so hilarious. Everybody right now thinks that I'm Ghislaine Maxwell because of this video on TikTok. Or, you know, come out with something to kind of be like, I'm not Ghislaine Maxwell, I swear. No, I haven't seen not a video of this lady since being claimed as Ghislaine Maxwell, simply conversating on the sidewalk in British Columbia. So where's that at? Because you know people are all about social media these days. I know if somebody came up to me and a video went viral because they thought I was Jeffrey Epstein, you know fucking damn well I would take that opportunity to go viral myself and be like, yo, I just got, you know, told I look like Jeffrey Epstein, and somebody thought that I looked so much like him that a video just went viral where everybody thinks that I'm Jeffrey Epstein. But I'm not, because this is me and this is Jeffrey. You know what I'm saying? I would have taken that opportunity to put it out there to the world. Not only is it a good cash grab for some viral fame, you know, and you'll probably make money off of it, and probably want, you know, people will want you to appear on their talk shows and podcasts and shit because of it. You'd get mad fame from something like that. And here this lady is just staying quiet. She just got misidentified as Ghislaine Maxwell, and nothing to ever be heard from that lady again, I guess. Very strange. At least I think. I don't know what you guys think about the situation. Again, I know that people said that, oh, that video was so AI, it had so many AI filters, and it had been AI'd the fuck out of. I don't believe that. It's such a short video clip. Why would anybody go through that much trouble to AI somebody to look like Ghislaine Maxwell? Because we all know the lady that we see in prison looks nothing like Ghislaine Maxwell. And before anybody even went on TikTok or anything like that and started to say, who the fuck is that lady? Because that's not Ghislaine Maxwell. I had already seen a short little snippet of the video of her being questioned. And I'm like, man, Ghislaine Maxwell is looking fucking rough these days. And that's why, because it's not Ghislaine Maxwell. And now that you see like a side-by-side photo of the real Ghislaine, you're like, yeah, there's no fucking way that lady sitting in prison right now is her. You can call it a body double. I feel like you could pay anybody to go into prison, have a little bit of video footage taken of you laying in a prison bed, and then, you know, sitting in a chair asking questions. You could pay anybody to do that. Shit, you could pay me, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard to find somebody to pay off to do something like that, just to show face to the world and see if you can fool everybody. But another person that the industry thinks that they can fool us with a fake face is Mr. Jim Carrey. Everybody knows the, some Paris Awards that he was at. I don't even know what event it was. It was just in Paris, I know that. And a funny looking Jim Carrey got out and was not acting like Jim Carrey at all. Especially when it comes to public events like that. Jim Carrey has not really been the greatest little ball of joy, I'll say, when it comes to public appearances at award ceremonies like that. And I wouldn't expect him to all of a sudden change. You know, he's been very like anti-Illuminati and anti-woke and things like that. And to all of a sudden see him in such a different manner and on the edge of crying while telling a story about a movie he used to watch with his dad, and, you know, all while looking like a completely different person. And then we have this person a few days later pop up on TikTok saying, what's his name? Alexis. what does I have it written down? Alexis Stone, who I guess is a famous TikToker and YouTube celebrity that is a professional makeup artist and voice, what do you want to call it? Actor, like he can, impersonator. That's the word I'm looking for. He's a professional impersonator. And he's known for dressing up in makeups and making himself look like different people and things like that. Yes, I guess it kind of looks like it could have been him because we know that the color of Jim Carrey's eyes are not the same. And this Alexis kid does have similar colored eyes. But it hasn't been proven that it was this kid. He just came out and took blame for it. Now, I feel like this is all bullshit because they got caught. They really thought, I believe, this is what I believe. I believe that they thought that they could get rid of Jim Carrey and put in a double. And they really thought that they could fool all of us into believing that, oh, Jim Carrey just got some plastic surgery done. Well, good for him. He's trying to look younger. The Jim Carrey I know wouldn't give a fuck about looking younger or looking Hollywood or looking anything like that because we know that he was anti all of that shit. He didn't even want to come back and do a movie unless it was for the right reasons and it was the right movie role. So what they did is they got Jim Carrey to, put his guard, let his guard down a little bit, take a few bricks off of that wall, and they got him to come back into the Sonic movies, and he got a little bit of fame. And then now that they have him back as a face that makes money, they got rid of him. And now they're just going to try to make as much money off of his image as they possibly can. Because when it comes down to it, Hollywood's dying. Pretty soon there's going to be no need for actors, really. With the takeover of AI, it's going to happen. Because we're seeing right now that all movies that are coming out basically suck. 99.9% of new movies that are coming out suck. And there's a reason for that. And it's because everybody is losing their creativity. Because people in Hollywood are no longer allowed or able to take their ideas from other people anymore. And I feel like that's what was happening in Hollywood for a long time. It's similar to how you are not allowed to ever patent an invention. That's what I recommend to anybody. If you come up with an invention, make it and keep it to yourself. Do not try to get a patent on it. Do not take it to a patent office to try to be patented. Because all they are going to do is steal your fucking idea, tell you that it's already something similar is already being made by somebody else. So they're not going to buy your patent. But they did take a copy of what you were trying to patent. And what they're going to do is they're going to go make your fucking product, color a little different, make it look a little different, claim that it's theirs, and you're out of a fortune because they just stole your idea. I feel like that's the same thing that's been happening in Hollywood for a long time, and they're finally reaching the end of that barrel. They're finally reaching the end of it because now what's going on is people are staying more independent. You're seeing more people develop their own films. You have YouTubers who are becoming more famous than Hollywood actors and being paid more. And who is it, Markiplier? He was a famous YouTuber, well, still is. He just funded his own horror movie under his own studio, under his own name, and funded the entire thing. And it came out in theaters and did better and held number one above Sam Raimi's movie, The Island or whatever. It stood above that movie for like a solid week, I think, at number one, past major, Hollywood films and production companies. His self-independently made movie did better than all the other movies. And those are the times that we are living in right now, to where people are able to go on YouTube, create an image for themselves on social media platforms, get people familiar with them, and then make their own shit and completely bypass Hollywood and all of the top dollar studios. You know what I'm saying? All the money grubbing that happens in Hollywood, you can bypass all of that shit now. And that's what's starting to happen. So eventually Hollywood's going to die. All of these famous stars, pay attention to who's famous right now, because that's probably the last of the famous celebrities that we'll see come out of Hollywood for a long time, until things either get better or Hollywood just completely changes into a completely different animal, where it is just people who are getting famous on social media, putting together things of their own and putting things out to movie theaters. Similar to what independent directors have been doing forever. They fund the films themselves. They put it in a few hundred theaters. And, sometimes they become diamonds and sometimes they become lumps of shit. But, either which way, it's self-done, independently financed, and it gets out to the crowd that you want to put your things out to. People who understand you and get your style and your taste. But Hollywood's dying. I feel like AI is eventually going to have to die, but if it does end up taking over, everything in Hollywood's just going to be AI generated. They're just going to take images of actors and actresses. They're not even going to have to be in the movie. They'll just steal their face, put it on a computer generated character. AI will do the rest. AI can probably already write better movies and scripts than any human can, because it has all of our ideas and all of our knowledge, and it knows, what I'm saying? Like, it can figure out a better way to do things than we can. That's unfortunately the scary place where it's going. And if we don't stop it, it's going to get real bad, to a point where we might be ran, governed, and religiously, you know what I'm saying? Like, this might become the new fucking, you know what I'm saying? Second coming of Christ. People might start worshiping AI. It's been talked about before that it could possibly get to that point. And unfortunately, people still don't realize that everything AI knows only knows it because we put it into the system. It only knows what we know. The only thing it can do is it can do mad calculations way faster than we can. And it can find what pieces of the puzzle fit way faster than we can. And then it can make it look a lot prettier than we can too. Let's see here real quick. Well, not real quick, but I have a list of things I wanted to make sure I talked about during this episode. I had a bunch of fucking videos I want to play for you guys, but you know what? I might not make it to it during this episode. So next episode will probably be a full episode of all of the videos I wanted to play this episode that better explain everything I'm talking about and everything that's going on right now. Typically to how we usually do things, but I planned on this being a lot quicker, and it's taken me a lot longer to get through this list than I thought. But all very important stuff, all things that I've been dying to talk with you guys about and kind of express my opinions on. What do we got here? Okay, when it comes to the Epstein files and everything that's been redacted and all this shit, I think it's all a farce. I think it's all BS. They have had these files in their hands for years now, right? I'm surprised that these files even still exist, but I highly doubt that these are the actual files. We already know that once the files were first retrieved, I think it's 100 terabytes of the Epstein files were deleted instantly. So 100 terabytes, I don't know if you guys know how much that is. Go Google it. It's unfathomable how much 100 terabytes is. And that's how much information and evidence and whatever was deleted from the files instantaneously as soon as they got a hold of the files. So already we know we're missing a whole lot of shit that we would probably all be very, very disgusted and disappointed with, even more than we already are with what we do know. And just to think that the only reason we know what we know from the Epstein files is because that's what they deemed okay enough to let us know. Because everything else that they took away was way fucking worse. So they figured, we'll drop them a few crumbs of some truth and they'll feed on that for a while. But when it comes to the files and all these names that were redacted and all these black spaces that, names were covered up, I feel like the only reason that they released the files with names redacted and black lines through certain people's names was because they wanted us more worried about whose names were under those black spaces than anything else. And because they knew that they were eventually going to have to release what names were being hidden under those black redaction lines, they had us occupied caring about that because they knew that they were getting away with way worse. And I am damn certain, 99.9999% certain, that the names that they claim are the names that were blacked out and redacted aren't the actual names. Because again, we have to think about the fact that they have had these files for years. And you're telling me that they didn't think about a plan B before releasing what they did release to the public? Or, allowed to become public knowledge? I highly doubt it. You got to remember that these people aren't just playing 4D chess. They're playing 4D chess and expecting that we're just playing beer pong. These people are way smarter than we could ever think. There's a lot of heads behind, a lot of brains going into what's going on. And they're thinking through every move before they make it. They're not dumb. They're not just going to let shit out there and let somebody come across something that they forgot to, redact or forgot to delete. They already have and have proofread and have read through those fucking files 1,000,000 times by 1,000,000 different fucking people before ever letting us see an ounce of information that might be an actual part of the Epstein files. If what we are reading is at all real from the actual Epstein files. Because if you go back to what I've been saying since the beginning, is those files are long gone. We are never going to know what's actually on any of those videotapes, in the evidence, on the files. We're not going to see any of the actual shit because they already have their hands on it. They already have control. And the only reason you're not seeing anybody in jail or anybody being prosecuted or anybody being punished is because these are the same people who own the police. They own the military. They own the judges. They own us. And that's the scary truth of it. They own all the power in this country. They're not dumb. Everything they do to put us at, make us uneasy and give us some kind of level of unrest and uncertainty, they're fully aware of and they are fully in control of. And it has totally been part of the plan since the beginning. These people are not fucking stupid. Some people give them way more credit than they deserve. But they're not, or I guess you're not giving them enough credit because these people are not dumb. They recruit the best for a reason. And it's all to help them cover up, the stuff that they want forgotten about or disappeared or unalived. One interesting thing that I heard somebody say, I believe it was a TikTok video, and I just want to share it because this is something that was kind of eye-opening, and it blew my mind a little bit because it's so simple, but it's one of those things that you really don't think about because it is so simple. It's like when you're trying to look for something in your room and you're looking right past it the whole time because it's so out in the open and it's so obvious that you're looking right past it. That's what this kind of reminds me of. But listen to what this gentleman said. He said, "Isn't it crazy how we are the only things on this planet that have to pay in order to exist?" And when I heard that, I was like, wow, that is so fucking true. The birds don't have to pay to be here. The earthworms don't have to pay to be here. The fish don't have to pay to exist in the water. The monkeys don't have to pay in order to live in the trees. We have tribes still that exist, indigenous tribes that don't pay to exist. They just simply do. But yet we have to pay in order to exist. And who are we paying that money to? Why are we paying that money to them? Why do certain people deem themselves the rightful, rule makers and decision makers and holders of our funds and where our money goes and how long we're supposed to work and how much water we're supposed to use? Why are we ran like this? That was very eye-opening. And I hope that those words get to as many people as it possibly can. Because when I heard that, it really kind of put all of our lives into perspective for me. That we could all be living so much better. We all know how to do every job out there. We do it every day. We just do it with a boss standing over us and with the government taking a portion of it out of our checks. But we already know how to do everything necessary to keep life functioning. We do it every day. The only problem is We got to get rid of the greedy hands that are in our pockets every step of the way, telling us where we're allowed to spend our money, how much they're going to take, and we're going to fucking like it no matter what. Meanwhile, they're waging wars, killing the poor, not caring about, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people not cared about that it doesn't make any sense with how much money is being spent on useless bullshit just for the rich to be happy. With their, we have athletes making multi-million dollars a year. Is that really necessary? On sports that are scripted and rigged. Really unnecessary. Hollywood actors. Hundreds of millions of dollars per film. For what? Really? Do we have to spend that much money? It's like, where does it stop? And the fucked up thing is it won't stop. It will actually continue to get worse until we stop it. The only question is when are we going to step on the fucking brakes and say enough is enough? We're ready to live our lives now. You guys have been sucking us dry for long enough. You guys have made so much money that the next 7, 8, 10 generations of your family could not lift a fucking finger and still live wealthy lives. We want to live our lives now, and maybe hopefully set up enough fundage to where the next generation can live off of, and then they can do the same for the next. Instead of having to fight for every paycheck and wondering how we're going to pay our bills and being charged $1,600 a month in utilities to pay for your data centers and AI centers that we as people don't need, you as wealthy billionaires need to help continue to grow your businesses and make even more money off of us, the consumers. It's time to open our fucking eyes and start standing up for ourselves, because it's not going to get any better. The only way it gets better is if we fucking make it get better and we fucking stick it to them. I mean, maybe a little wrong words to use there. I don't, but you know what I'm saying. Sorry, my mind's always in the gutter. But yeah, Jim Carrey, dude. I know, weird segue. But yeah, that whole thing is just weird. Clearly, it's not Jim Carrey. I just want to know, where is Jim Carrey? Is he still alive watching all of this happen, being like, man, see, there's no way these people are going to believe the government's bullshit and Hollywood's bullshit. I told you guys, you couldn't just fake being me, because I really think that that's what's going on. I'm hoping Jim Carrey's still alive. But we all know that how he was trying to speak out against everything going on in Hollywood and how things actually work with the Illuminati and all that underground stuff that we know exists and we know is going on. He was just trying to be one of the loud voices in Hollywood to help expose it. Because one thing we do know, I've mentioned this in my previous episodes, I think, somewhere. Maybe it was on TikTok or something. Which, by the way, if you are not following us, go and follow us. On TikTok, the Matrix Misfit. It's our second account that we've had to start. The first one they took down was from when the podcast was originally called Cushion Chaos. We just crossed, I think it was 13,000 subscribers, followers, whatever they call it on TikTok. And we were just about to get to where we were making money on TikTok. And they went back to a video I had posted months prior and decided that they were going to say that that video was not allowed and that was our final strike, and they took that account down. So now, with the Matrix Misfit account, we just crossed 5,200 followers. It's doing great. Tons of people watching our videos, positive feedback. I love where it's going. I feel like it's getting the right message across. Even though it's a message in the form of using different TikTok videos to get the message across, it's still being, you guys are picking up what we're putting down. And then with Bleak Nico channel, that's a more simpler channel, not as much conspiracy videos. It's just daily truth bombs that we drop on there, done by our character that we created named Bleak Nico, who is our conspiracy, I don't know what you want to call him. I don't know. What you guys go see and tell me what we should call Bleak Nico. What is he? Is he a ghost? Is he a phantom? Is he a conspiracy phantom? What do we call this guy? Right now, he's just our character, but we're always putting stuff, and that channel's doing well too. Not as well, but we don't post as much on that channel either. But we just crossed, I think, 460 followers on that, and we continue to go up every day. YouTube, We have Bleak Nico channel on YouTube is doing fucking phenomenal. We just went up 7,000 subs in a week. We are now at 9,250 something subscribers on YouTube on the Bleak Nico channel. Go check that channel out. I am putting out compilation videos. Again, just kind of same thing of kind of what our TikTok channel is at Matrix Misfit. It's a compilation of videos to kind of see if you guys can pick up what we're putting down kind of thing. Doing very well, obviously, on that channel. I can't believe how well it's doing so quickly. And we also have a channel on YouTube for, what's the other one that we have going on there? I think Bleak Nico is our main one right now on YouTube. I'm trying to work on another one. I'm trying to create one for the Matrix Misfit. I do have a channel on YouTube if you want to go follow it in case it gets big. I did start a channel on YouTube for the Matrix Misfit Podcast. I think we just called it the Matrix Misfit though. We dropped the podcast. I posted an old episode on there just to kind of test the waters and see how long it was going to take before it got kicked off. So far, from what I remember, the episode is still on that channel, but we all know how touchy YouTube is. Right now, YouTube and TikTok, if you have not noticed for yourself, is being very highly monitored and videos are being filtered like crazy. It's very rough to get videos seen that are anti-Trump or anti-Israel. And that right there should also show you who is running things by what you are allowed to say. Or, like that saying goes, you'll know who's running things by who you're not allowed to criticize. And I'll just let you figure it out for yourselves from there. But clearly, YouTube and TikTok are being affected by the voices of our owners. And so we have to be very careful. But I'm going to try to post this episode right now that we are doing on that YouTube channel. And, by just judging by the things that we are talking about in this episode, I don't expect this channel to stay up. Or this episode to stay up. They're probably going to remove it immediately. I don't know how long that channel is going to last until YouTube kicks it off and completely just gets rid of us. But I'm going to push YouTube to their fucking limit. And I'm going to see how many episodes of this podcast we can get away with posting on there. Right now, it's just the one older episode, and I'm going to post this one. So go and follow that channel if you would like to be part of the experiment to see how long the Matrix Misfit channel stays up on YouTube. And make sure to go subscribe and follow the other channels that I just discussed. And we completely appreciate the support. Love you guys. All the feedback has been 98% positive for the most part. A lot of you guys understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to say. And some people are still lost in the ether. But we'll all get there on the same page eventually, hopefully. And that's what I'm here to try to help happen. But real quick, we went over Hollywood is dying. Let's see here. Yeah, again, it doesn't feel anymore that the government works for us. We are definitely put in a position where it feels more like we work for them. And I mean, it's honestly not even that hard of a thing to kind of realize and say, yeah, that feels right. That feels about how it is. We work for them. But in reality, they are supposed to be the ones who are working on our behalf and taking all of our words into the choices and the decisions that they make. And right now, I do not feel like the people's voices are playing any part in any decisions that are being made by our government or our president. They're just kind of doing whatever the fuck they want, and we just get to deal with it. And that's not right. Let's see. Our world is not built for our happiness. It's built for theirs. And that, kind of goes along the same lines of what I've been saying. They're not worried about building a world for our happiness. It's all about making us work our asses off and waste our lives in order to keep them happy. And I don't think that's fair at all, because this world was not just made for them. This land was made for you and me, right? Sorry, that was cringy as fuck, but I never claimed to be a singer. Let's see here. I feel like, honestly, up to this point, knowing what we know now and seeing where things are going and seeing what's been exposed and finding out more and more about these people who run our country and who really runs things, anyone who thinks differently at this point, I mean, it hurts to say this, but you are seriously just becoming a waste of time, a waste of life, a waste of space, and a waste of resources. That's at least what I have written down. I mean, I was in a little bit of a mood when I was writing down some of these notes because I was watching some very, very painful videos about, where we're at in this country and what's going on. And, it just really hurts my feelings that we all have to live in this world the way that it is right now. None of us deserve to live like this. Whether you claim to be, left or right wing or whatever, that does not fucking matter to me. Because if you don't understand yet that, both wings are of the same fucking bird, they're all ran by the same fucking people, believe it or not, we need to stop thinking like that. Like, oh, if you're not a Trumper, you must be a Democrat. You don't care about nothing. All of the bad things happening in this country are all because of the Democrats. That's not the way shit runs. There's good and bad on both fucking sides of the table. And both sides are ran by the same small group of people calling the shots, whether you want to believe it or not. And I just feel like people really need to get with it. And if you're not going to get with it, and you're not going to get active, and you're not going to try to do, something about it, even if it's something very minor like having a podcast or a TikTok and voicing your opinion on stuff. If you're not going to do anything, then you're really just a fucking waste at this point. Because we really need all hands on deck. We need everybody who cares about this country and cares about our future to stand up and do something while we still have a chance. It's not over yet. It's far from fucking over. They haven't even gotten to a point to really get people that angry in this country yet. They're definitely poking some raw spots in different areas of this country, and we're seeing what happens when, that goes down. We've seen what's going on with ICE and how those areas are responding. We understand, I understand ICE has a job to do, and I understand that there was a lot of people who came across that fucking border that aren't supposed to be here. I understand that a lot of those people that came across were doing some very foul things in this country with hurting people, murdering, raping. Trust me, I'm not blind to that shit. I fucking know that those people need to be found and taken out of our country. Yes, I am all about that. And yes, I am all about the fact that there is a right way and a wrong way to become a citizen in this country. But when you start not caring about who the real targets are supposed to be, and you start fucking with actual American people, and you just start running the streets and acting as if you have no rules to follow at all, and you can just abuse whoever you come across, that's where we have a problem. You guys are supposed to have certain people you are looking for. You are not supposed to be just attacking every fucking person you see behind the wheel or walking on the sidewalk or, standing on their porch because you don't like it. That's not what your job is. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that there's a job ICE is supposed to be doing, but why am I hearing, that they're basically doing everything wrong about the job that they're supposed to be doing? I'm sure it's like anything. Same thing with the police. You have your bad ones with your good ones. Just like politics. You have your good ones and your bad ones. But we really have to do a better job of not hiring people who can't handle doing the job the right way. Let's see. Was there anything else I wanted to put my 2 cents on? We were putting... Yeah, when it comes to people who are, active in going against what this country needs, I kind of wrote this down as like a metaphor. We're all lost at sea right now. We're all very lost right now. Our country is in a bad spot. Things are only getting worse right now instead of better. And right now it feels like we're all just floating in lifeboats, and everybody who is actively using their time to go against the positive things that we're trying to get to, you're just putting holes in our fucking boat while nobody's looking. That's what it feels like, metaphorically. Like, we're all just floating around in lifeboats trying to get to land. And here we have people putting fucking holes in the goddamn boat while we're all wasting our energy trying to paddle to land. Like, that's what it feels like. And I don't know. For some reason, I decided to write that down. Like I said, when I was writing my notes, I was in a rough headspace. I was definitely way more negative than I am right now. I had to smoke a big fatty and really bring myself down before doing this episode. And I think it worked because I don't feel quite as angry. And I also feel a lot better getting some of these things off my chest because I can't fully express myself by just putting videos out that are related to what I want to say. Sometimes you just have to actually speak the words from your fucking heart. And that's all I'm trying to do. And I know that a lot of you out there agree with what I say. There's a lot of people who don't agree with what I say, but I love everybody. You know, like sometimes we just have to agree to disagree. But one thing we should always agree on is it's us versus them. Don't ever get shit twisted. Whether you think you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, remember, at the end of the day, it's all illusion of decision. Ultimately, their job is to divide us by using these different groups that you can be part of, liberal, Democratic, Republican. It's all illusion of choice. None of that matters. What really matters is that we all stick up for one another as Americans and we all thrive for a better future. And unfortunately right now, that means that we have to get rid of all of these powerful fucking people who think that they own this world, that they own our country, that they can just sit by, let us work, bust our ass, waste our life, spend all of our dollars keeping themselves rich. And yeah, I don't know. I'm out of notes. I'm exhausted. I need to go smoke another one. I feel myself coming down, but I'm just glad I was able to put out another episode, you guys. I'm sorry I did not get to playing any of the actual videos and that you guys had to actually listen to me talk this whole fucking time. I apologize. But next episode, which I now know that there will be, since I didn't get time to play any of the videos I wanted to play, we will go through all the videos I was going to play that kind of go over and better explain the kind of points that I was trying to get across in case I didn't make anything clear enough. So be expecting that next episode very soon. I might even, if I get energetic enough, I might try to put it out tomorrow or, the day after this comes out. So I don't know. We'll see where I'm at, but I will try to get it out as soon as possible because honestly, it would be in my better interest to get it out soon before I start getting a whole new lineup of videos that catch my attention and then I completely forget where I was trying to go. You know what I'm saying? With what I was trying to say in this episode. So be expecting it soon. Thank you guys again for all of the love, all of the feedback, all of the follows, the subscribers. I mean, I cannot believe the kind of traction we've gotten off of our YouTube and TikTok accounts. I did not expect things to go the way that they have. And I have nothing but you to thank. And again, I'm sorry if my vote at all helped in anybody's hardships that we are currently facing and are about to face. If I could go back in time and change it, I would. But it's not just my vote that did it. So I can't fully put the blame all on myself. But I also cannot stand here talking to you guys and say that I wasn't part of the problem. Because I am. And I'm a man and I can stand up and face the wrongs that I've done. And I'm not here to bullshit anybody. I just want a better future for us all. I want a better future for our kids. I want a better future for their kids' kids. We deserve to live happy, long lives. That's the way it used to be. We used to not have, 1 in 3 people having cancer. We know damn well what's causing it. We know damn well we have cures, but everything's a money game. And if you can't afford it, then you're not allowed to live, basically. And that's the way this entire country is ran, with every aspect of it and everything inside of it. If you cannot afford it, then I guess you just don't belong. And that's sad. But leaving off on a happy note, I love each and every one of you guys. Make sure to go check out the channels if you haven't. I'm not telling you have to, but we would highly appreciate it if you did, because we are going to be obviously more interactive with our social media stuff that's going on with YouTube and TikTok than here on the podcast for right now. Not only because it's reaching more people, but because of the fact that, I don't know if you guys feel it and you guys have recognized it, but podcasting has it's gone down a little bit. You know, we're over the podcast boom. Everybody pretty much has their channels that they listen to, and that's it. You know, I think there's been enough time that a lot of our, a lot of the channels that weren't really meant to make it, have already fallen by the wayside and have disappeared. And, you know, you can't have billions of fucking podcasts and expect every one of them to do well. So we're just trying to be smart and, it's like Wayne Gretzky said, don't be where the puck is, be where the puck is going to be. And that's not my quote. I actually heard that from Kevin Smith, but it was a quote from Wayne Gretzky. And it's honestly a very good quote to hold on to, because that is something you can use in all of your life. Don't be where the puck is, be where the puck is going to be. And I'm going to leave it off on that. And that's a wrap. So that does it for this episode, you guys. Until the next one, and there will be one, don't you worry. Like I always say, stay awake, stay smoky, my friends. Stay safe. I love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.